Hello my friends, and welcome back to the Tartan Team channel. My name is Nick Aufenkamp. I am the leader of the Tartan Team, which right now is just me. Well, it is right now in October 2023. Perhaps you're watching this video way into the future, and now we've got a vibrant team filled with 20 agents and a whole creative market, a full property management arm. You can tell I got dreams, I got visions. I'm really excited about what we're building with the Tartan Team, and I'm so glad that you found this channel, found this spot, and therefore you're part of it. Welcome aboard. Today's video is going to be all about what to expect when you decide to work with me or one of my team members as your buyer's agent. Buyer's agency. There are a lot of changes coming to buyer's agency starting in 2024. And I think these changes are a really good thing. They're the result of a few massive lawsuits against the National Association of Realtors and against some massive brokerages, in which the findings were it is not fair for buyers to have no say in the compensation that they must pay to their agent, because historically that was something that the seller always set. And buyers are saying, hey, this is not fair. That's included in the purchase price of the home, and we had absolutely no say in what that value was. And the court said, yeah, you're right. That's not fair. And as a result, now we have a very clear buyer's agent agreement that should be standard in all real estate transactions, that makes it crystal clear what a buyer's agent owes to you in responsibilities and what you owe in compensation to them for a job well done. So what can you expect when you decide to work with me? Or maybe you haven't even decided yet. Maybe you're just thinking about it. Well, thinking about it is a very good place to start, because the number one thing that we want to do is get to know each other. We want to get a feel for each other. We want to know if we are a good fit. Let's be honest. There are thousands upon thousands of agents out there. There are a number of good people in your city that you could potentially work with. And I have to think about that being in this business. There are a number of good folks, especially within my own brokerage. I have a number of realtors who are my friends that it's like, I would love to work with you. I would love to be represented by you because you are such an awesome person. And so the competition in that regard is thick. How do you choose when there are so many great options? One of the first things that we want to do is get to know each other and see if we're actually going to like working together, because a buyer's agent relationship is a really, really important one. Buying a home is a really big deal. Whether it's your first time buying a home or this is your 50th home that you've purchased, it is still a massive investment. And there are generally a lot of emotions tied to the entire process. There's a lot of up and downs because it is such a big decision, such a huge financial commitment. You gotta have an agent who you like and who you trust. That is so, so important, because you're gonna go through the emotional roller coaster with that person, and you want for them to be an enjoyable partner on the ride. And that's why I always start the conversation by us getting together, whatever that looks like, grabbing coffee, grabbing a drink, grabbing lunch, or if you're not local, then, connecting through Zoom or FaceTime, just trying to get together so that I can get to know you and you can get to know me. I want to hear your story. I want to hear what's motivating this huge decision to buy a home. And I want to understand what those factors are, because usually when someone is moving, it's because a major life event has happened, whether good or bad. And if something hard has happened, I want to be able to be sensitive to that. Not that I need to know every detail, but it is helpful for me to just have an awareness of, hey, this really tough thing happened, so that I know, and that'll help frame kind of my perspective of what it is that you're looking for. Or if the most exciting things in the world are going on in your life, well, I want to celebrate those things with you. Also, part of the conversation will just be sharing a bit of my story and who I am and how I operate, so that you can get a feel for me. And through the course of conversation, I think we'll have a good idea of whether or not we're a good fit for working with each other. because like I said, it's very, very important that you know me, that you trust me, that you like me. We have a conversation to just getting to know each other. The next phase of that conversation is, well, obviously I want to hear about what it is that you're looking for in your next home. Yeah, I'm interested in square footage and number of bedrooms and bathrooms, those kind of standard things, but I really want to get underneath all of that. I want to understand your lifestyle, how you're living in a home, what that home needs to do for you in order to move you forward toward your dream life. Is this a 3 to 5 year home, a stepping stone to the long-term home that you want to be in? Is this something that you're looking at because you want it to be an investment and build you up financially? Or is this a place that you're wanting to raise a family in and be in for 30 plus years? Having a knowledge of those things dramatically changes the kind of properties that I'm going to recommend to you. Also changes the way that I want to guide you through that process. I want for all of my suggestions and thoughts to be tailored to who you are and your unique set of circumstances, rather than me just shooting from the hip with my own thoughts and opinions based on a limited frame and kind of my own life. So we'll dive deep on what it is that you're looking for, what it is that you like in a home, so that I can set up the best search possible and really be a helpful guide in showing homes. Before we set up that search and start looking at homes though, we do have to go over that buyer-agent agreement. And that's where, again, I'm going to lay out all of the responsibilities that I have to you, the promptness of communication, the showing of homes, the putting together of purchase and sale agreements, walking you through all of escrow, keeping that as smooth as possible, being there for inspections, scheduling everything, keeping it all on track. And there's so much more. So I want to go over all of those things. And then we'll also talk about compensation. And nobody likes to talk about compensation, right? It can be uncomfortable. It's kind of a taboo to talk about money, but this is a good opportunity. You wouldn't have a service person come out to your house without getting a bid first, and that's essentially what it is that I'm giving you. I work on a set percentage of the home that you're going to buy. So I'll share that with you, again, based on the set of responsibilities that I'm promising to you, based on a number of factors. That number will fluctuate a little bit, but for me, it's pretty well set. Hey, this is the percentage that I need in order to keep putting food on the table for my wife and kids and keep a roof above my head. We can talk about that number, but I do think that it's fair to disclose up front that I'm not really one to negotiate down on that, because I do believe that the service that I provide to you is of greater value than what I take in the commission at the end of the day. So we'll talk about that. If you've got questions, I totally get that. I know that everybody's looking for a good deal in real estate, but the way that I provide a good deal is by getting you into a home that you are going to absolutely love, that meets your goals. Once we have signed a buyer-agent agreement and we're on board and working together, well, it's time to get looking at some homes. So I'll set up a search within the MLS. Anytime something new hits the MLS that fits the criteria we've established, you're gonna get a notification about that from me. I'll be honest though, in 2023 and beyond, Zillow, Redfin, those online services, they pull from the MLS. They're so doggone quick. And so if you've set up a search on there, it's not a whole lot different than what I've set up for you. And there are times where people find things even more quickly on Zillow than what I'm sending to you on the RMLS. How that works, I don't exactly know, but rather than fight it, I like to embrace these modern times that we're in. So if you see something that pops up online, send it my way. I'll send you things that I think are interesting, and ultimately we'll be putting together lists of homes that you want to check out. And then, as works with your schedule, we'll set up some showings. I personally like to keep that list at about 3 to 5 homes. I find that if we look at more than 5 homes, they all just start to blur together. It gets really overwhelming and exhausting. But if you're just coming into town for a weekend and we need to blitz through as many homes as possible, we can make that happen. I understand that every set of circumstances is different, so we will work it out to what meets your needs best. Once we are in a home, Here's a few thoughts on how I show a home. It really depends on how experienced you are in the home buying process, and it also depends a bit on your personality. For instance, if you're a first-time home buyer, I'll be much more involved and talkative as we look through the home, because as a first-time home buyer, you might not know everything that there is to look for. Maybe you do, but the things that I'm looking at are, tile and grout work, any sort of cracks in the drywall, the ceilings. I'm looking for any evidence of moisture in the ceilings or in the floors. I'm listening for squeaks or feeling for anywhere that the floor might be uneven. I'm also going to be looking around the exterior at the foundation, basically just trying to see, hey, is there anything that might not be obvious to somebody who's less experienced in a home, but that could be really expensive? Because we want to have at least some awareness of that before you go to contract on something and go to the expense and trouble of hiring an inspector. And yeah, the inspector is going to catch even more than I do, but if I can save you the emotional turmoil of getting into contract on something just to find out that, hey, there's a massive crack in the foundation, well, I really do want to save you that trouble and the inspection costs. Now, if you're an experienced home buyer, then I'm probably going to get out of the way a bit more. I'm going to be very present to answer any questions that you have about the home, but my goal is to really get you into the space so that you can enjoy it as naturally as possible. Showing a home is a weird thing. What I mean by that is that at no other time are people walking into a house and treating it like it's made of porcelain or like it's gonna break if you look at it wrong. When my kids come home, they're throwing their shoes all over the place. One of them's diving on the couch. The other one's yanking open the pantry and pulling stuff off of the shelves. Even when your friends come over, they come over a whole lot more naturally and comfortably than typically when showing a home, and you're very particular about taking off your shoes and, talking quietly, walking quietly, don't want to put any footprints in the carpet lines. I get it, but that's just not the way that you truly experience a home. So as your agent, I'm going to help you to get comfortable. I'm going to give you ideas of, hey, stand behind the sink here, sit down at the stools, sit down on the couch. It's okay to sit down on somebody else's couch so that you can feel, what is it like to be in this bonus room space or in this great room? How does it feel with that ceiling height? I want you to get a feel for those kinds of things. So after looking at homes, we're going to find one that you really love, one that you say, yep, this is one that I could see myself being in and enjoying for however many years you want to be there. And when that time comes, then we put together an offer for that home. And there are so many ways to put together an offer. I think there are over 200 forms within the MLS that you can include as part of an offer. And that's one of the areas where I provide a lot of value, is that I know what all of those forms are, and I know exactly what ones we need for your particular property to give you both the best protections and to make the offer as attractive as possible to the seller. Now, here's how I think about putting together an offer. Certainly, as the buyer, you want to pay the lowest price possible for the home. You want to get the best deal that you can. I get that because I'm a deal hunter myself. So I'm going to talk to you about, here's what else has sold around there. Here's my broker's opinion of what this house is worth. And I'm going to let you know if the house is, in my opinion, priced appropriately. And having that data is really helpful to justify whatever purchase price you come to, because especially when you're offering lower than what the seller wants, the seller is going to want to see rationale, evidence for why. Why are you coming in for less than they want? If it's a really, really hot home, and I think that it is underpriced, which sometimes sellers do as a strategy to drive a lot of attention and a lot of offers, I'll let you know that as well, because I'm going to be in conversation with the listing agent to see, are there any offers in hand? How much interest is there? And that way I can communicate to you, hey, if this is one that you really love, that you really want, well, based on the other comps, here's the high end of what this home would be worth. Do you want to offer over the list price? So Pricing is definitely the biggest piece of strategy when it comes to putting together an offer, and that's an area that I'm going to help you work through. At the end of the day, you get to decide what it is that you want to offer for a house. I am just offering my opinion, not based on emotion, but based on what it is that I'm seeing in the market. I'm here to help you get into the house. Ultimately, you don't have to go with what I say. That said, I do recommend you take my advice. I do think that all of the time that I spend in the market and doing this is not for nothing. Okay, that aside, price is just one component of making the offer as attractive or compelling as possible to a seller. Other pieces of that are the terms, how much you're giving in earnest money, how much you're putting down, or if it's a cash deal, the closing date, offer expiration, all of those kinds of things we can play with. And again, I'm going to try and get an idea of what the seller wants. Like, would they benefit from a longer close period? And if that works with your schedule, you may be one of the few offers that is able to provide that to the seller, or they may be willing to sell the house for less if you can be flexible in that regard. So that's another element that I'll talk you through. And then contingencies. There are some standard contingencies, like an inspection contingency, which I always recommend buyers do. I don't care how crazy the market is. You want to get an inspection on your home because you don't want to move in and find that there's a massive crack in the foundation and it's going to be a $50,000 job. Ugh, yikes, that's not fun. So I'm going to recommend an inspection. There's other contingencies as well, like a financing contingency, appraisal contingency, title contingency, or even a house to sell contingency. If you have a home that you need to sell and you're using proceeds from that sale to purchase your new home. I'll talk you through all of the different contingencies and what makes sense for the home that you're wanting to purchase. Just remember, as a buyer, the more contingencies that you put into an offer, the less attractive that offer is to the seller. Another way of describing a contingency is that it's a get out of jail card for the buyer. With an inspection, basically, you can come up with any reason that you want to, that you didn't want to move forward on the house, and you're able to break the contract and get your earnest money back. And so the more contingencies there are, the more shaky the seller typically feels about the deal. I'll talk you through all of that. With the inspection contingency, let me circle back, because once the seller has accepted the contract and we are in mutual, then I get everything set up with the title company, get escrow opened up, walk you through the process of getting in your earnest money. So we've put together your offer, we've submitted it to the seller, and the seller accepts. Congratulations, that is an exciting moment. And it really is. It's a moment to be celebrated, but it's only half of the battle. And so once that offer is accepted, there's a number of other things that get set into motion. The first thing is, and hopefully you've done this even before we've put in the offer, but it doesn't always happen that way. We need to line up your financing. And I have an amazing lending partner. Her name is Brooke Trang with Academy Mortgage. She is the best of the best. She's been in Clark County for a long time working in the mortgage industry. She's awesome. So if it would help to have a personal referral to a lender, I would be more than happy to get you connected with her so that she can take really good care of you, walk you through the whole financing process. But we do need to have that pre-approval letter to submit that to the seller and to get everything going as relates to the loan. We also need to get escrow opened up. So that's something that I take care of so that you can drop off your earnest money. And then very quickly, we've got to get your home inspection scheduled and just kind of line up the train schedule of events that need to happen in order to clear all the contingencies, get the loan underwriting done so that you can close and get the keys to your new home. With the inspection, that's something where I've got a list of inspectors that I really like and trust. You have the ultimate say in whoever it is that you want to use, but I'll make some introductions for you if that's helpful, and then we'll get that scheduled. I will be there as much as is possible. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be there at that inspection the entire time, being able to listen in, ask questions. You'll be able to join in at the end and talk with the inspector and ask any questions questions that you have, and then we'll go over the list of items that the inspector offers for what needs to be repaired. Now, inspectors are incredibly detailed, and so just know that they are going to note absolutely everything that they find on the home, and they are going to find stuff. That is their job. But just know that there is a huge range in terms of serious to not serious, very, very minor problems. And I will help you interpret that inspection report so that you know, hey, this is very common, this is very minor, and this is very inexpensive to take care of, versus, hey, this one is a really big deal, like could be a deal breaker on moving forward in this house. So we should go back to the seller and ask for them to repair this, or any number of the other items in there. Generally, once the inspection contingency is cleared, well, it's pretty smooth sailing from there. You'll be talking with the lender and the title company, just making sure that all of the paperwork that you need to get in is done, setting up times to sign for everything, and then ultimately we get to closing. And that's when the real celebration happens. That's the time that you get the keys, that you get to take possession of your new home and get the move-in party. Have everybody moving your stuff into the new house. And that's actually something that I really love to help with. As long as I'm able, I love to be part of the move-in process because it is just such a celebration. I've been there from the start of the search. I might as well be there in the end and be part of the excitement. You've at least got one friend that you can count on who's going to help you get all moved in to your new home. So that's pretty much the entire process. I mean, after closing, I'm still here for you. So if you do have further questions about the house, or you need to get back in touch with the previous seller because you're getting their mail, or because you have a question, or you need to be reminded, hey, where was that main water shut off? I'm going to be there. And then usually through the course of that home buying process, we've gotten to know each other pretty darn well. We established from the very beginning that we get along well, we like each other, and more often than not, it feels like those relationships that I have with my clients morph into more of a friendship. And so I do love to stay in touch, keep sending you updates on what's happening in the market, local insights as far as just, what to do and what's going on in Clark County, what's being developed, and just interesting things that I'm finding day in and day out. So there you have it. That's what it looks like to work together. Hopefully that gives you a good feel for what to expect, but the very best thing to do next is for us to get together. Like I said, it's a big deal. That's something that I always respect, how big of a deal it is to buy a home. And so I really want to hear about what's driving the move for you, what it is that you're looking for, and I'll let you know how I'm able to serve you to the best of my ability and trust that it's a good fit. So if you're interested in discussing further, well, you can get in touch with me by sending an email to nick@thetartanteam.com. You can go to my website, thetartanteam.com, and fill out the contact form there. Or you can use the Calendly link in the description below, and then you book an appointment straight with me. We can grab coffee, grab a drink, grab lunch, or if you're remote, we'll find a remote way to connect as well. However it is that we get in touch, I really look forward to meeting you. I really hope to be able to help you in your housing search, and I hope to be there to celebrate once you've found that perfect home and have the keys and are getting all moved in. Thanks for engaging here. I look forward to connecting soon.